to this video. We are Prestige Worldwide. We're going to be performing some tests with the proper techniques. For doing so, my name is Ethan Quenneville and I'll be doing dissolved oxygen.
My name is Kyle Baronet and I'll be testing conductivity.
My name is Adlam. I'll be doing the DO titration.
My name is Matthew Struthers and I will be doing pH.
My name is Leblond and I will be doing the spectrophotometry. Okay. Hi, just to start off, we'll be talking about some PPE and proper safety techniques. Firstly, gloves. Always need gloves when handling any equipment. Glasses in case of any spillage or even explosions, who knows. Lab coats to protect your skin, clothing, and yeah, have anything to add?
No.
Sounds good to me, Kevin.
Okay, so we'll jump right into it. I will be testing for sulfate in the tap water using the spectrophotometer, and we'll get ready started. So firstly, you want to just turn it on with the power button, and usually when you first turn it on, it will take a couple of minutes to warm up, and it will go through all the tests. So system tests, lamp tests, voltage tests, and calibration. And when it does turn on and goes through all the tests and you get the check marks, you want to check your battery. If it's below half, you should probably think about either getting a new spectrophotometer or doing it pretty fast. But yeah. So then you have to go to your program. So our program is going to be 680 sulfate. And to do that, you just click the wrench or settings button. And you will go to all programs / methods, click select, you go to stored programs / methods, select, and then you can either search by number or by letters, and number is just easier. Then we have 680 sulfate, so you just use the scroll like up and down arrows to 680, and then once you do that, you click OK. And then 680 sulfate will appear, and you click start. And there you go. And then, so to start, we have our sample of tap water here. We're going to use our 10 milliliter sample containers, and we're going to pour some of our sample into that. Much there, dump a bit out. There we go. And make sure you always read it at eye level, or else you may get off amounts. And I always like to have two like sheets of paper, or you could tape something to the desk saying sample and blank, just so you don't mix up your samples. So I'll put this one in the sample. And then next we have our sulfur 4 powder pillows. We just need one of these, and you could either just tear it or take scissors and cut off the top where it says tear. Once you've done that, just break it open a bit, and you could pour that into your sample container. Make sure you get it all in. After that, when you're done with that, you can dispose of that in a container that should be properly labeled. And once that's in, you want to swirl that up a bit. Well, first we should use a parafilm. Put that on top just so nothing gets out or gets in. Shake that up a bit. For this test, it doesn't matter if everything is fully dissolved or not. That's good. And then, while that's sitting,
Yeah, just make sure to wipe it off.
and then after that, you'll want to set a 5-minute timer. So you just do options, start timer, and then select, and then since we have put the program in, it will say wait 5 minutes, and you just click select. And then we have the 5-minute timer going right on the left side. And now we can prepare the blank using the other sample container. And then the blank. For that, we just need the tap water again. And pour that in. A bit much there. Pour some out. That's good. And then we can put that in. Make sure you have the 10 milliliter line and the numbers facing to the right side or the direction of the arrows. And you just close that, and then there will be a 0 button, and it will, for the top arrow, will be the button to click it. So you just click that and wait as it works. It may take a minute or two. There we go, then it reads 0 milligrams per liter. And then just open that up. Okay. Take that out. You can put it under your blank. Make sure you close this every single time that you take out or put something in. And then we still have 3 minutes and 24 seconds left on the timer before we can put our sample in. Okay, so our 5-minute timer is up, so now you just click stop. And just to clear some stuff up, make sure that your 2 sample containers have the same number on here, so 557, we have 557. And then make sure you get a chem wipe, and before you do anything, wipe everything down. Yeah, you don't want no fingerprints or anything on there. And make sure again that the numbers are in the direction of the arrows. You can put that in. Take that off too. Shut that, and then you just click read. It may take a minute or two. Also, our method number for our sulfate is 8051. Oh, and we're done. So we just open this, take another chem wipe, grab a look at that. There we go. That's out, put that back. And our reading is 16 milligrams per liter of sulfate. So we have 16 milligrams per liter of sulfate in our tap water in this lab. And then after you do get all your numbers and you complete the test, you want to make sure you clean everything. So your sample with the sulfate powder, you want to make sure you dispose that in like a proper place. So in a fume hood with in a bottle, and never pour it down the drain or anything like that. And always make sure to read prior to any tests on the proper safety procedures. And yeah, that's about it. Make sure you rinse everything out before you're done with it. And yeah, that's it.
Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how to use the pH meter. So a couple important care tips with the pH meter. Whenever you're not using it, try and keep it in the case. It's got this little sponge on the bottom of the lid for the probe. Try and keep the little probe pressed up against the sponge when you're storing it, and try and make sure the sponge is always moist. And then the next thing is just that this probe is make sure that it's not scratched or it's not damaged in any way, because that will affect your pH reading. So your next step is to turn the pH meter on, which is this button right here. And yeah, you just need to press it and hold it and give it a couple seconds and it'll turn on. So we're going to calibrate it to start. So to calibrate it, you need 4 pre-made samples that already have a known pH of 4, 7, and 10, which we have just right here. This is my 4, 7, and 10. And to calibrate the pH meter, you need to put it into calibration mode, which then it will start to seek out the closest pH to it, and then it'll calibrate to that nearest pH. So if it's in the 4, it'll calibrate to the 4.
So you just need to put it into the little buffer solution just like that, and then you click the calibration, and you hit hold, and then it will scroll through the bottom there, through the 3, 4, 7, and 10, and you need to wait till that clock right there is done and it turns into a check mark, and that's how you know that it's calibrated to that buffer. So there, the little check mark popped up.
So calibrated, you want to rinse your probe off well with distilled water after every buffer.
Do the same process. Just wait till I check mark again.
How long do you think it usually takes for,
About a minute.
yeah.
Per buffer. So got that
Looks like we got the cal.
Yep, I got that one, and then I just need to do the 3rd buffer there.
Do you have to fully submerge that thing, or?
Just the probe. Just that glass probe on the bottom. There.
Do the colors serve any purposes on the buffer solutions there?
Zero clue. No idea.
I'm pretty sure it's just,
Just so you can tell the
yeah,
differences.
between the pHs.
Yeah.
So there, it's all calibrated. So now we're just gonna stick it into our tap water, and it'll give us our pH of our tap water, and it'll also give us our temperature. Still giving me the clock, just wait for the check mark, and we got pH.
I think it's safe to drink.
It's looking like it should be safe to drink.
That's good.
When do you know? Oh yeah, when the check mark.
Like when it's
When it
done.
stops.
Yeah, it shows the clock until it's good, and then it shows the check mark when it's done reading the pH. And
What do you
pH,
What do you think the best range for drinking water is?
the range for drinking water is 6.5 to 8.5 pH, and like pH is a scale from 1 to 14, and 1 is on the bottom and it's more acidic, and then 14 is more alkaline on the top there. So this water is 7.55, and it's got a temperature of 20.9 degrees Celsius. So yeah, that's pH of the water.
Nice.
Yeah, but they can move.
And just to show you, the battery level is right there, and if the battery level is ever low, you should consider charging up before you take it into the field. And remember to recalibrate every different water source that you go to.
Hello, my name is Kyle Baronet, and I'm going to be teaching you how to use the conductivity meter today. So, I'll take it out of its storage right here. And just some background information, the conductivity meter measures the ions in the water, which ultimately lets us measure the electrical current, which is the conductivity. So before we turn this thing on, we want to do a little physical check, make sure the cords are intact and it's in good physical condition. So once we've determined that, and the electrode is properly installed, as we can see here. So once we've done that, we can turn the device on, and we'll wait till it turns on, and we'll go to the mode and select where it shows our degrees Celsius symbol, and we want to keep on hitting mode until that degrees Celsius symbol is flashing. It's not flashing. There it is. So now we see that it's flashing. I'm going to zoom in on that. We know that it's measuring specific conductance. So what specific conductance is measuring the conductivity, but at a specific temperature, which is 25 degrees Celsius. So it gives us an accurate reading no matter what temperature the water is at. So to actually measure the conductivity of the water, we're going to place our probe fully submerged in the water, and then we will actively stir/bob the probe. So while measuring our specific conductance, the number usually will bounce around a bit, and then usually you'll just get an average of whatever it's bouncing between, or sometimes it'll just stay stagnant. So right now we're getting a reading of 483.4 and 483.3. So right now it's more consistently staying at 4, so that's what we're going to read it as. Also, we're going to measure for our conductivity, which is just the temperature that the water is at. And to make sure that is in its proper form, the degrees Celsius symbol is not flashing. So when we measure that, we'll also do the same thing, continually stir/bob the meter. And as we can see, we're getting a different reading because the temperature is now fixed to what the temperature is usually at, which is like room temperature. And now we're getting a reading of 443.8 microsiemens per centimeter, and that's 20.9 degrees Celsius in the water. And also for our specific conductance, it's also measured in the microsiemens per centimeter. And once we have our information down, we do not need to take any more readings. So we clean our probe with distilled water and make sure we really get in on the top and the bottom and thoroughly clean that. There we go. And once that is cleaned, it's ready to get inserted back in. Power can go off, and it is now ready to be stored back in its container for later use.
Okay, so we're going to be doing a titration. So the first step we got to do is we got to take our sample. So we have our 2 sample bottles. We have our PEP 500, which will be used for our other DO test, and then we have our water sampling bottle, which will be used for this test. So when you sample, first thing you want to do is you want to rinse the bottle a couple times.
Triple rinse, baby.
Oh yeah. And then when you take the samples, you want to make sure that there's no air bubbles.
Just set that in the sink for now.
Why are you putting that lid on?
You know, put the lid on.
So it's not that big.
Yeah.
No, just the headspace thing, yeah.
Just minimal headspace. You can just set it in the sink like that. Makes it easier.
There you go. Here, that, okay.
Okay, so that's our first one. Now we'll do our water sample. That's this one too.
Triple rinse.
I'm hungry, you guys hungry?
Mango? Mango.
All in our mango diet, frozen mangoes.
Frozen mango?
Frozen mangoes, that's
Okay, so 0 headspace. And now you want to make sure that you use the same source for both your samples so that your readings for the DO concentration will be accurate to what you're trying to sample. And like so for consistency. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is we need to add our two things. So first we add our sulfate solution, 8 drops of that. And then we add 8 drops of our alkaline potassium. Close the lid on that. And then you mix it so that the precipitate will form. And then basically we just have to wait for the precipitate to settle below the shoulder of the bottle. And then after that we'll add our sulfuric acid. Put these away.
I can see it starting to form there. Yep.
That's nice.
How long does it usually take to settle out? A few minutes?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Should we give a close up?
close-up shot of it.
Oh, yeah.
You can see the precipitate, it's dropping down.
And by the way, you're watching a prestige worldwide production. The first word in entertainment. First word.
First one.
Okay, so it's dropped below the shoulder. We'll just give it a few more moments.
Yeah.
Alright, so now that it's settled, we will open it up and we will add our sulfuric acid. And this is also 8 drops.
Something's happening. Science.
And we'll close that back up and we will mix it again.
Art.
We are looking for investors.
So how was everybody's day?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
What are you doing for dinner today?
I don't know, dude.
I starve.
Yeah.
Didn't know. Are you going on a date with me?
I already have a date with some other dude.
Why do you do this process? Why do you do this process here?
I'm not too sure, to be honest.
I think it's like flocculate all the oxygen or something.
You stabilize the oxygen levels in the water so that when you titrate it and everything,
We can get the correct value.
yeah, you get the correct value.
What's the next step?
So we're just waiting for the contents to dissolve, so the precipitate. I think it's getting there.
We can cut some stuff too, if we want.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking speed this part up, put on Japanese music.
Yeah. Funny. I'll be walking downstairs.
Walk up the stairs.
Alright, so folks, we'll just walk down.
See it coming. Oh, here it comes. Oh, hey there.
I don't know why it takes so long to dissolve.
What song was stuck in my head this morning?
Katy Perry.
No, it was a country song.
Whiskey glasses.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know.
It's
Got a
like
big old smile on his face. He's pretty happy about this one song.
it's like it's like an original saying when you're like obsessed or about someone, like a person.
Stalker.
No, like infatuated.
Love.
You're like I can't say the first word. You're just gonna get it.
That wouldn't be a bad thing.
It's 3 words.
Okay, so now we have our sample with contents dissolved. So now we will get our titrator.
Just pull it.
Show the camera. Show them.
So make sure to take the pink thing off your titrator. And then use our sodium thiosulfate. Put that in there, invert it, and gently pull it back. Pull it back to the 0 marker.
Show the camera close up.
Exactly.
So there is our at the
That
0.
little plunger thingy, just make sure it's going to the right one, that line instead of the wrong one.
Yeah. Okay, so there's no bubbles in it. If there was bubbles in it, we would empty it back out into here and try it again, but we're good. So we'll close that back up. And then we will empty 20 mils of
Here, let's make sure
our solution into here.
that's in the shot. I don't think it's in the shot.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna add our 20 mils. Alright, there we go. So our 20 mils is in there, and now our objective is to get this to a pale yellow color. So we will titrate into here until it turns yellow,
Slowly but surely.
and we will swirl as we titrate.
Why do we swirl it when you?
Just so that
Titrate.
just so that it mixes into the solution fully and dissolves.
Good question.
Looks like we're getting close.
Okay, I would say that is a pale yellow. Maybe one more. There we go. So pale yellow color. So now we'll take our titrator out, and we will uncap our thing here, and we will add 8 drops of the starch indicator to our solution. Okay. So now we continue to titrate into here until the color is gone and it's just clearless. Continue to swirl.
Just a friendly reminder, I wouldn't drink any of this.
Don't drink sample water, folks.
It's not worth it.
We here at Prestige
May look
Worldwide,
good, but
Kind of looks like Gatorade.
we're very health
Oh,
and
there we
safety
go.
conscientious
Ooh,
individuals.
That was beautiful.
Alright, so now that our solution is clear, we can read our titrator. So it looks like we are at 9.2. See that there?
do you see that? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
So our concentration for our DO for our tap water is 9.2 ppm.
4 milligrams.
For our solutions here, make sure you put them in the proper waste under the fume hood.
Okay, so this is the dissolved oxygen meter. Before we turn it on, we gotta check for 2 things. First, you gotta make sure like there's nothing broken here. It's looking pretty good, and we gotta check that the probe is in proper working order, which it does look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on, and I'm gonna put it into our solution or our just tap water here. And I'm gonna wait for the numbers to settle on the screen. But while I'm doing that, I'm gonna like slowly bob up and down. So it's holding a steady value here. So I'm gonna hit both the up and down arrows at the same time to put us in calibration mode for milligrams per liter. And hit enter, And now, from the titration, we know that the dissolved oxygen in this tap water is 9.2 milligrams per liter, so I'm going to hit the up arrow and get to our desired amount. So almost there. Gonna hit enter, and we're calibrated up now. So I'm gonna hit mode, and we're reading 9.21 milligrams per liter for dissolved oxygen in this sample, and that's what we want. So that's good. Also, the temperature is 20.0 degrees Celsius. So yeah, that's it.
What?
Make sure to rinse off the probe before you put it back in the housing with distilled water, just like that. Then return it and turn off the instrument. All right, that's good.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you properly and safely test your water. With our safe techniques, Prestige Worldwide will ensure that you will have clean water for the rest of your life.
You!